This is Monica Kelsey from Beyond the Box, and today I am interviewing my husband. This ought to be very interesting, so you guys might want to stick around. Welcome to Beyond the Box.
Thank you, Monica.
This is kind of weird, isn't it?
It is weird, yeah.
This is kind of weird, and I even have Harper on my lap because we're all a family, you know.
Yes, we are.
Harper.
How appropriate.
How appropriate. So, for those who don't know who you are, besides my husband, obviously, but tell our viewers and our listeners what you do.
Well, I have 3 jobs actually.
You have 4 because you're the landlord of my mom's house.
Well, let's go back. Let's go back a few years. You and I met working for the same company. Remember?
Yes.
For the same company, and we got married, and we both left. I think we both had a drive for public service.
We did.
You actually had a drive for helping people. You know, you became a firefighter and a medic, and I had a lot of interest in politics. You know, public awareness, things like that, and so. In 2015, what did I come to you and say?
Well, you came to me and said that you wanted to run for mayor of our city.
And what did you say?
I thought you were having a midlife crisis.
No, I was very interested in it because there were things that were not happening in the city, and it was our community, and I wanted to be a part of the person that is the solution. I wanted to be a part of the solution to the problem, you know, and I ran for mayor and won fairly easily, which is a good thing. And at the same time, we were starting a thing called Safe Haven Baby Boxes. We
were kind of launching 2 things at the same time, you know, with the running for mayor and then Safe Haven Baby Boxes. And yeah, so you are the mayor of the city of Woodburn. You also work for Safe Haven Baby Boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And you're also in the Army National Guard.
The Army National Guard. I was actually in the Army National Guard long before we decided to go off on our public service pathways. I joined at the ripe age of 37 in 2007 and been in for 18 years, looking at retirement pretty soon. Love every minute of it. It takes me out of every time I go, you know, I do the weekend warrior thing, right. Which is, you know, how they say.
Weekend warrior my ass. Yeah. There ain't no it's not just weekends, it's weeks and months and then deployments. But anyway, sorry.
I love it. You sign up and you think it's 2 days a month, but it ends up being 3 days a month and then 2 weeks in the summer and all these other schools.
And
but
sometimes deployments.
You know, like I say, it's a chance to get away and be a part of something even bigger, more important, defending the country. And you get to learn so many skills. Plus, I get to hang out with a bunch of guys that I have grown to, you know, I've grown to become brothers to them, and they're brothers to me in the military.
So every woman in America that their husband is in the Guard right now is wondering, do you want to go to the Guard on the weekends to get away from your wife?
No, not at all.
Liar. All right, so we know that you've got 3 jobs. Actually, you got 4 jobs because you're the landlord. You own a property that my mother lives in now. And so you are her landlord, and she calls you every week telling you that there's something wrong with her house.
Deep breath.
Yes. Okay, so let's get back to Safe Haven Baby Boxes.
Yes.
So the whole reason that we're here is to kind of talk about your role with the company. And you are one of 3 of the original members, and I've already interviewed Pam Stenzel, who is a good friend of ours. Yep. That was one of the original founding members. I mean, actually, there was 2 of us founding members because there was 2 of us at Cape Town, South Africa. But when I got off that plane, I quickly came to you and said, "Hey, I got this idea," and we kind of rolled with it. But so you've been there since the beginning of the flight back from Cape Town, South Africa, when I got off the plane and seen this company grow into what it is today. Who I don't think either one of us thought that it would get to where it is.
No.
But what was your thoughts? And we talk about this a lot, the original moments of me kind of bringing this to you and you wrapping your head around the fact that I was asking you to partner with me in women putting babies in boxes at fire stations. And so what was your thoughts when I first came back and handed you this napkin that was the drawing of the original Safe Haven baby box?
Well, I'll go back to when you were still in South Africa. You called me one time. I don't know if it was at an airport or it was before you left. But
I called you probably a lot of times from South Africa.
No, you did. But the one time you told me you had this idea and you sort of described it to me about this church that had the box, and it is a place where mothers can surrender their baby, and I want to bring this idea back to the country, and let's talk about it. I want to do this. I can't remember your exact words, but I remember getting off the phone, hanging up with you, and thinking, I have no idea what she's talking about, but she's my wife, and I'm gonna support her. But when you got home, you described it to me, and we through another friend, we discovered Casey Cox, who was our state rep then. We realized that we had to change the law, the Safe Haven law. We started learning about the Safe Haven law and how it works, and the different nuances of why babies are abandoned and things like that. Then you you went to a builder. You found a builder, and without me knowing. And I think you discovered him because you're a firefighter and he's a firefighter, and that's how, by word of mouth, you got to know him. And you called him and told him what you wanted to do. And as you say, you wrote him a check to pay the $600 from my bank account
From your bank account.
and walked out there like a boss.
That's right.
And then you told me later. But I know you, and I know when you have a dream or a vision, there's no stopping you. And I knew this was something that we were going to do, and it was going to be a legacy at the time. So, did
you ever think that it would get to this point, that it would get this big?
I never thought of it in those terms. I just, one day at a time. We had the struggles of starting it in Indiana. We
had a lot of struggles.
We did. We took that prototype, and it's funny creating the prototype. When you create a prototype, everybody thinks that that's the final product.
That's the beginning.
You're going to put this in a. No, this is a prototype. This is just the idea, and we're describing to people how it's going to have sensors and alarms and things like that. And I think finally people got it, and fortunately, Casey Cox, he got it right away, and he supported us in it. But we went through how many prototypes? I think the design, we're at about the 20th design or something like that with all the changes we made.
I've lost track of where we're at, but we've changed a lot of things over the years based on the, advancements of technology.
Right.
The boxes are truly built by technology and what technology can do for us. Mm-hmm. Instead of a woman dropping her baby at the door of a fire station and hoping someone finds the child, now when a woman drops her child off at the door of a fire station in a baby box, we're going to know it.
Yeah.
We're going to know it pretty quickly. And so we have done a lot of prototypes over the years, but, to go from one box at our firehouse in Woodburn, Indiana, to now 365 boxes in 24 states. Mm-hmm. It's just incredible when you really think about it.
Yeah.
And we have had a lot of struggles because when we go back to 2016, and most of our viewers know about our son. And he was on, I think, episode 4 or 5, where our son was, in a rollover accident. He was at a high school graduation party where the homeowner bought booze in our community, and you as the mayor, and our son decided to get behind the wheel of a vehicle he didn't own and do donuts in a 19-acre field. And his best friend got killed, and our son went to prison. Mm-hmm. And, a lot of our followers know that because they listened to his podcast a few podcasts back and heard from JJ, and now he goes into schools, but that was a part of our life that was, I don't want to say shaped us, but it shaped us because it changed us. You know, we had a lot of struggles during that time, you and I, and our marriage took a hit. And I think for any married couple, they're going to take a hit because our family was devastated. Our family was devastated at the loss of Casey. Our family was devastated at the loss of JJ going to prison. And the idea that our son was part of something so traumatic. And we were still trying to build this company called Safe Haven Baby Boxes. You know, we had 2 boxes in the wall, and then we decided to kind of put it on hold and focus on our family. And so, you know, for a year and a half, you and I, every weekend, went to see JJ.
Yeah, you know, and we learned later that, you know, people talk about when they go through a tragedy like that, when families go through a tragedy, a lot of times it ends up in divorce.
They do.
You know?
Yeah.
That thought never crossed our minds. You know, I don't think it did anyway.
Maybe yours. No.
No, it never crossed
There
my
was
mind.
a lot of trying times, though, a lot of anger, a lot of bitterness that I don't even know where it came from. You know, we were very bitter for a little while, especially when JJ went to prison.
Yeah.
You know, it was fighting for him. And so Safe Haven Baby Boxes did take a little bit of a back seat. And I think any reasonable family would have done the same thing. I don't think that we did anything that was out of the, you know, norm. I think we were just fighting for our family and fighting for our son and making sure that he was okay because, you know, waking up every day knowing that you caused the death of your best friend has got to be something that is not pushed under the rug. And so we did focus on JJ a lot and we focused on his healing. And I look back now and I think, wow, we really were the family that he needed because we rallied around him and tried to protect him mentally, you know, that almost shattered our family. But, you know, the November, you know, he was getting ready to get out in January, out of prison in January. And then in November 7th, we had 2 boxes in the wall. He was still in prison. We were still going every weekend. And we got the call from Cold Springs Fire Department that they got a baby in their box. It was like two months before JJ was to get out of prison. And I look back at that time now and I think how it was almost like Christ was saying, it's time to get up. You've sat down long enough. I know you've been focused on your son, but now it is time where you step up to the plate because we need you now. And we got our first baby. And I think for you and I, that was the part that we needed to continue to keep moving.
Yeah.
That it just kind of solidified it for us that this is real. This is needed. And we're a part of it. And we're changing the way women throw away their babies. We're getting them to not throw them away anymore. And so then we launched the 3rd baby box in America.
Well, that was really where it took off because we were putting everything on the line. We had we didn't even know if anybody was going to actually use it. Remember? We had the chiefs of the 2 stations had trust in us.
Yeah.
And this is one of these times when that first baby was surrendered, and it's not looking at necessarily our success. It's looking at, wow, we're actually
a part
of giving mothers another option.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's not our success at all. It's basically looking at these moms and giving them the protection that they needed.
Yep.
You know, this is so much bigger than us.
It's our success in the thought that, hey, we're a part of making change in the country, you know, but it's really about the mothers, you know, giving them another option. And
giving them a safe option.
And so we had the first 2 boxes, and then number 3, I can't remember where was that one at?
Decatur Township.
And I think Chesterton was about number 5, weren't they?
Hicksville, Ohio was number 4.
Hicksville was number 4. Okay, so then we were in Indiana and Ohio, and we were in Indiana and Ohio quite a while, and we thought. I remember thinking that Ohio would eventually catch on and there'd be other locations in Ohio, but there wasn't too many there.
No, Defiance, Ohio was one of the first ones in
Van
Ohio.
Wert Hospital.
Yep.
So we thought, well, the next state that's going to happen is probably going to be Kentucky. And who was the next state that called?
Arkansas.
Arkansas, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the chief read about the story in one of the firefighter magazines or something.
Well, I think it was about the baby that was surrendered in Cold Springs Fire Department that he had seen,
Yeah.
which was in November of 2017.
That's right, yeah.
And then we started working on the law in 2018. And then we launched the box in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got their first baby in 2019, which
Yeah.
was baby Ollie.
Chief Ford.
Yeah, Chief
us,
Ford. And, it's interesting, too, because baby Ollie and Chief Ford still have a connection. They still have a relationship, which I just love that.
Mm-hmm.
When these babies come through the baby boxes and they come through the fire stations, the fire department, it becomes their baby.
Yeah.
And for Chief Ford and Ollie to still have a relationship, I just love that. Well, you look at Carmel Fire Department, Chief Moriarty still has a relationship with these kids, too. And so... these kids come back with their adoptive families and they become a family, which I love that. I absolutely love that. But yeah, so the third state in America was Arkansas.
Yeah.
And then the fourth state in America was Kentucky.
Was Kentucky.
Yep. And then it just kind of took off from there, I think. Nancy Tate, Representative Nancy Tate in the state of Kentucky, when she took it in front of the legislator, it was during COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And we actually put that state on hold and waited for the following year because COVID pushed everything back. And then, we launched in Kentucky, and then Kentucky got a baby in Bowling Green, and then they got a second baby in Bowling Green, and then they got a third baby in Bowling. And it was like, oh my gosh, like more women are trusting us across this country simply because of an idea that came from South Africa.
Right.
And so it's been an incredible ride to launch in all of these states and see the success of the Baby Box Foundation and all of our team just stepping up to the plate and putting moms and babies first. And it all started because of three people.
Right.
The founding members, who were the first three board members, because remember, we had a board meeting. The very first board meeting was me, you, and Pam.
Me, you, and Pam. And but that's the most appropriate, because the minute you and Pam started speaking together, you guys hit it off right away.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you guys have been great friends, and I consider Pam a great friend too.
Yes.
So the three of us we have a real tight bond, and I appreciate that. And we're the three founders of the company. It wasn't shortly after Arkansas. Remember, I don't remember what state was next, but it was pretty soon after that when the mayor of Ocala, Florida, contacted us.
Yeah. Well, I think I think Florida was the seventh state.
Seventh state?
I don't know
really?
why, but that seems like, for some reason, I think they were the seventh state.
Mm-hmm.
But, Tennessee was one of those states that picked it up, wow, I don't know. I don't know what and then New Mexico came up,
That's right,
with
Mexico.
Espanola, choosing to do it without the state statute being on their side.
Yeah, and their chief is a warrior.
Oh yeah. It's Assistant Chief.
Yep.
Assistant Chief Wickersham, man. He's on fire.
Mm-hmm.
He, and he's just a great advocate.
Yeah.
He's kind of like Chief Moriarty. He's just one of those advocates that just continues to just fight for these moms and these babies in their communities and literally across the state. Chief Moriarty has probably talked to hundreds of fire stations about the Baby Box program because he's so vested. He's seen it work. He tests it every week.
Yeah.
He trains his people and he responds to the Baby Box alarms. And he's just such a huge advocate for safe haven baby boxes and for these moms and these babies across this country. It's just amazing to see. So we're in 24 states now. We've got 365 boxes. What do you do for safe haven baby boxes? I mean, I know you're a part-time mayor. You're part-time in the National Guard and you're full-time with Safe Haven Baby Boxes. And what do you do for the company now?
Well, we started off...
Whatever my wife tells me to.
Well, that's always, but... well, remember when we started off, we really didn't know how to form a company.
We didn't. Nobody had... We don't have a business degree.
You're technically the founder. It's your idea. You carry the passion for everybody here, you root for the company and everything. But so it most appropriate to call you the CEO, and you are the CEO still. And I said, well, I'm Chief Operations Officer, not really realizing what that meant.
Let's just give ourselves a title.
Yeah, but after we we grew a little bit and we started to we had a growing board presence, and we started to learn more with me dealing with the locations, and I don't want to say dealing with the locations, with me communicating with the locations and getting the contract out, and plus being behind setting up our CRM and refining the provider guides and implementing that and showing people what the refinements are and
so
what we
you
need
like to be
implement.
behind the scenes doing
Yes.
the little things that people might think is very small, but ends up being a very big part of our company.
Mm-hmm. Making sure the signs on the boxes are just right, making sure the programs like right now we're rolling out the online courses, making sure that program is just right. Figure a more appropriate title for me was Senior Project Coordinator. So that's what I am. Co-founder, Senior Project Coordinator, and board member.
Just add that to your
And
list
mayor,
of jobs.
and National Guard member, and
Just add that to your
Yeah,
list of
right,
jobs.
right.
So you deal with every location.
Mhm.
I don't want to say deal, but you
Yeah.
handle every location that has a contract.
Right.
Because we have each location sign a contract, letting them know, hey, you're going to test it, once a week. You're going to do 2 visual checks a day.
Right.
You're not going to put any security cameras on the box itself. Those kind of things are in that contract.
Yep.
And you are the one that is, I could probably say, negotiating, because we do adjust our contract.
Yep.
It's not about the contract; it's about saving the life of a child. And if we
Right.
have to bend a little bit, we will. But there is one thing we will never bend on, and that is the security cameras on the boxes.
Right.
Which we've actually had a location that refused to take that out. They said they could not guarantee that, and we said, well, we're not going to sacrifice integrity for growth,
Yeah.
and so we're not going to, we're just not going to do the baby box program with you. You're going to have to find another company, and so we have been very successful in making sure that we don't, sacrifice our integrity for the growth of this company, especially when anonymity is so important to these moms.
Yep, and that is the integrity part, right? Because we have a promise to these mothers that they will be anonymous, when they surrender the babies. And I think that's more of the communication piece with the location as to the importance of the baby box program as opposed to the safe haven law.
It's kind of an education. They just
Yeah.
need to be educated on it.
Yep, yep. And I think when locations attorneys or law enforcement get involved, and rightfully so, they want to make sure that no nefarious activity happens with a baby box going in the wall and there's an open door and everything else. But I think people respect it enough that we haven't had anything like that happen except for babies being surrendered in the
Right.
boxes.
Well, we did have a set of kittens.
We did.
We did have a second.
That was an interesting story. Yeah.
Carmel Fire Department.
Right.
So, okay, so let's change. So let's switch gears for just a second. Let's talk about the haters of Safe Haven baby boxes.
Yeah. We love
Your
our haters.
wife's life has been threatened. Does that just piss you off?
Yeah, it does. It really does.
Does it
It
just
really
want
does.
to
And
make
there's
you
nothing,
like,
and there's really nothing I can do. I can't, get a hold of my Army buddies and say, let's go on a trip.
as much as I would like for you to?
But yeah, that is frustrating. But when you really start to look at our haters, you realize how insignificant they are and
Right.
how much they just spout off on random things. When you're doing something good that we're doing, it really doesn't matter.
Well, and I think the larger we get, the more haters we're going to have,
Mhm.
the trolls out
Mhm.
there. But a lot of our haters hate adoption. That's where a lot of this comes from. There are adoption haters that think that every child should be raised by their biological parents, which I am vehemently against, because there are crappy parents in this country that should never be raising any child.
Yeah.
And, or they think that every child deserves to know their heritage or their medical information. And I believe, I think you do too, that we have to save the life of the child first. And if they get their medical information or they get their ethnicity information second, that's great. But first we have to save the life of a child. And so, as an adoptee, I would rather have my life than know who my parents are, my biological parents are. And I think we as a company understand that, but there are people out there that don't agree with it, and that's okay. Right. We can agree to disagree, but advocating against a program that is out there saving the lives of kids simply because you think they should have their medical information and their ethnicity information and, know who their parents are is just crazy. It's just absolutely crazy.
So we were at a conference not too long ago, and I was speaking to somebody, and they said there are just as many parents out there that want to adopt that are having difficulty as there are children that need families in this country. And it's amazing how sometimes adoption is so difficult, and there's children out there that don't have families. They're in the foster care system, and they want a loving family, and they can't. So that's a bigger problem that we have to deal with as a country. But hopefully we can, in with our program, if there's a surrender in the box, the adoption process is easier, I think.
Yeah, it is in most states.
Yep.
As long as the legislation allows it to be easier.
Right. And I'm not trying to encourage somebody to surrender in the box as opposed to handoff. We always want a mother to walk in and hand her baby over. But if she can't do that, then they use the box.
Then we want her to use the box if she can't hand the child to a person. So, well, thank you for coming on Beyond the Box with Monica Kelsey. And talking.
I really, it was probably hard for you to get a hold of me,
yeah, it was.
Because I'm so busy.
I mean, I've left numerous messages for you and you've not called me back. Yeah. So I just rolled over and smacked you this morning and said, we're doing a podcast this afternoon.
Literally. I found out this morning that we were doing a podcast today.
That's how we roll. That's how we roll. Well, thank you for coming on Beyond the Box.
Absolutely.
This is Monica Kelsey from Beyond the Box with my husband dropping the tea of how this company was started. And if you would like to support Safe Haven Baby Boxes and the ministry that we have started from scratch back in 2015, you can do that today at shbb.org.